Welcome back. It's Friday, and today we're going to look at some country folk. Now, on Wednesday, we looked at music by Alanis Morissette, a local Ottawa girl that did well, made it big. We're going to look at another performer from Ontario. She grew up in Peterborough, moved to Ottawa and teamed up with Bruce Cockburn and David Whiffen and covered the coffee house scene doing folk style music. Moved to Kingston, released a couple of albums, and then moved to the U.S. and was doing tours down there. She was background singing for Charlie Daniels, toured with Ry Cooder, Tom Waits, Gordon Lightfoot, and I'm talking about Colleen Peterson. Now, I had 3 of her albums, 2 on disc, 1 on 8-track. Now, the 8-track one, I've kind of lost track of. It's the in-between. I've got her first and third albums here, and there's some really good things and some things that were a little unsettling at the time. Let's take a look at the album number 1. First one she released, very country feel to this one. I had seen her and Mark Haynes in the early 70s. They were touring under the name of Spriggs and Bringle. And it was more of a country folk duo band, and it was a lot heavier on the folk. When this album came out, I was a little surprised because it was more country than folk. And to give you some idea of what she was covering, and you'll recognize some of this, Don't It Make You Want to Dance by Rusty Weir, Who'll the Next Fool Be by Charlie Rich, Richland Woman Blues. She gets into the blues here with some Mississippi John Hurt. And that was a little different from the other country tunes, but just an excellent tune. Sad Songs and Waltzes by Willie Nelson. And here's one of my favorite, Music in Your Eyes by Willie P. Bennett. Now, we talked about Willie P. back during the Folk Festival episode, and that was, oh gosh, quite a while ago last year. Willie P. Bennett, another guy from Toronto, lived in Peterborough, wrote some fantastic tunes, and the best person to cover those tunes, Colleen Peterson. On this album, she did Music in Your Eyes, just a great cover of that. On the second album called Colleen, which was ahead on 8-track, she does Willie P. Bennett's Starting Out Clean. And really, I enjoy her version of it even better than Willie P.'s. I mean, she just nailed it, and it was just a great tune and a great song he had written for her. Okay, back on this one, 8 Days on the Road, a classic country tune. Brand New Tennessee Waltz by Jesse Winchester. And I just happened to find another Jesse Winchester album kicking around here the other day, and we're going to take a look at him probably maybe next week or the week after, see what he's got going on. Souvenirs, Chattanooga Night, and Colleen's version of her own song, You're Not the Only One. So we've got a couple of tunes by her, Souvenirs and You're Not the Only One, but a very heavy influence of country music. Now, second album, pretty much more of the same, and I mentioned that great tune of Willie P. Bennett's Starting Out Clean. Third album, and it's called Taking My Boots Off. And it was kind of foreshadowing the idea that this isn't going to be the same country music one, because we've kicked the country music boots off. This one, I would say maybe a little uneven because of the style of the music they put on there. I mean, it's still great performances, but if you were used to that folk country blues style we were hearing in the previous albums, this was quite a departure. Go to Pieces by Del Shannon. Angelina, Last Time I Saw You was Colleen's song. We got Sam Cooke's Cupid. Gail Davies, Needin' Your Lovin'. Run to Her was Goffin and Keller. Maybe It's Love, a song by Adam Mitchell. One Horse Town by Colleen Peterson. And Michelle Clark's Booze the Blues Away. Now, what I did enjoy about this album, and I didn't realize it when I first had it, because, you know, maybe I hadn't looked that closely at it, and I didn't listen to it as much as the other ones, but it was recorded in Los Angeles, and she pulled in some LA studio musicians. And again, one of my favorites, you've heard me talk about him a lot on here. He played on Jackson Browne's album, he played on James Taylor's album. It would be easier to list who he hasn't played with than the list of who he has. And I'm talking about bassist Leela Slur. So Lee's playing bass on this album, and to me, that just upped the ratings quite a bit there. The fact to get a chance to hear him again, because you never know where he's going to show up. And this album from back in, I'm going to say maybe late 70s, there he was in there kicking it with Colleen Peterson and doing some of the tunes here. And again, not as country oriented. You can tell we're looking at Del Shannon, we're looking at Sam Cooke, we're looking at these guys. Not the same kind of albums she had been putting out, but a nice change. She went after put these albums out and joined a group called Quartet that featured another country / folk singer, Sylvia Tyson from Ian and Sylvia. And there was 4 of them in that, and she played with that band until her passing. But if you're looking for something a little different, and I don't know if this is on the streaming networks, I've tried to find it. I think on the streaming networks, they have 1 album of hers, and I don't know if it was after these or if it's kind of a compilation. But for my money, one of the most fun and the best and the nice tunes was the original Beginning to Feel Like Home. And if you'd like to just change it up a little bit, get away from the country music, it's Kicking My Boots Off. Another great Canadian performer, number of Juno nominations, lots of success on the road, and only a few examples of her recorded work. Okay, that's it for Friday. Colleen Peterson. Everybody, I hope you have a great weekend. Everybody take care. It's getting colder out there. It won't be long until we see the snow coming. So you want to get everything bundled up, get the house set up, get the car tuned up, get your snow tires on, get ready for winter. It's just around the corner here in Canada. Until then, we'll see you on Monday. Everybody take care. Have a great weekend.